Lu Shang waited 1 day before answering. That was another point in his favor. Fools struck while the crowd still remembered the shape of their embarrassment. Men with some instinct let memory soften, then gave it a new frame. By the next morning, the lower court had argued itself into 3 versions of the post-incident. In one, Lin Fan had secretly used a forbidden vibration art. In another, Lu Shang's original palm had been so powerful that it continued deepening by itself. In the third, the post had been rotten and everyone involved was pretending otherwise. The third version pleased the maintenance clerk least. By midday, an outer deacon ordered a routine paired drill to restore proper training atmosphere. No one believed the wording. The paired drill used wooden wrist tags. Disciples drew tags from a box and performed 3 exchanges under a deacon's supervision. No challenge record. No rank wager. No punishment unless someone broke rules visibly enough to demand paperwork. It was an elegant way to put 2 people in striking distance without calling it a duel. Lin Fan looked at the tag placed in his hand. Number 17. Across the court, a tall disciple with narrow shoulders lifted the matching tag and smiled too smoothly. Ch05. Outer rank 598. Lu Shang's occasional sparring partner. Not close enough to be called a follower, not distant enough to be innocent. Wind-step tendency. Quick hands. More confidence than killing intent. In the first life, he had survived the outer sect by attaching himself to stronger names until one of those names died badly and pulled him down. Useful as a borrowed knife. Disposable as one too. He had not always been foolish. That made him more useful to Lu Shang. Ch05 knew enough technique to look legitimate, enough rank to stand near Lin Fan without absurdity, and enough ambition to believe a clean public showing could pull him closer to the top 200's attention. He had probably told himself this was not Lu Shang's matter. He was simply testing a rising disciple, restoring order, proving that experience still counted. People lied most efficiently when the lie resembled an opportunity. Lin Fan watched Ch05 greet 2 friends near the chalk line. Left shoulder loose. Right ankle carrying slightly more weight. Wind-step users often trained entry bursts until their leading ankle learned arrogance. That ankle would trust speed even when the rest of the body should have hesitated. Ch05's fingers were clean, nails trimmed short, no powder under them. No hidden toxin. No weighted sleeve. He intended skill, not scandal. Good. A scandal would be noisy. A skillful loss would travel farther. Lin Fan rolled the wooden tag between 2 fingers and placed it on the deacon's table. The drill court gathered faster than any official lesson had managed in days. Lu Shang stood under the same southern eaves. Han Wei stood nearer this time. Lu Chen did not stand beside him. Instead, he sat near the water jars with a practice manual open on his knee, not reading a word of it. Wang Lei hovered at the outer edge of the crowd, face tight with worry he lacked the discipline to hide. Lin Ro was not present. Good. Some scenes were cleaner without kind witnesses. The deacon in charge was a square-faced man named Deacon Ma. He had the bored irritation of someone assigned to prevent young cultivators from turning pride into injuries that required reports. 3 exchanges, Deacon Ma said. No lethal strikes, no hidden weapons, no attacks after halt. You will show control. You will not waste my afternoon. Ch05 bowed. Yes, Deacon. Lin Fan bowed as well. Deacon Ma glanced at him. You are under medical observation. If you feel root instability, withdraw before you vomit on the court. Some disciples laughed. This time the laughter spread more easily. Good. Let them have a surface. Yes, Deacon, Lin Fan said. Ch05's smile widened. Junior brother Lin, we can keep it light. That would be best. No need to strain yourself after your recent improvement. Senior brother is considerate. The wording pleased Ch05. It made him think Lin Fan had accepted the frame, weak but clever, protected by ambiguity, dangerous only when others stepped wrong. That was partly true. It was also incomplete. Incomplete truths killed more reliably than lies. They took their places. The court lines were chalked in a rectangle. 3 exchanges meant each side could initiate once, then a final free contact. Most disciples used the first exchange to test strength, the second to show skill, the third to win face. Ch05 would likely use speed early. Win-step disciples disliked allowing opponents time to read foot placement. He would aim to touch shoulder or wrist, making Lin Fan look slow without injuring him enough for Deacon Ma to interfere. Lin Fan lowered his hands. Not a formal guard. An outer disciple's guard, slightly flawed. The flaw was placed where Ch05's pride would enjoy seeing it. Too much wrist visible. Elbow not quite covered. Weight a little high, as if root pain made lowering the stance uncomfortable. A genuinely careful opponent would distrust such a neat opening. Ch05 was careful against stronger men. Against Lin Fan, he wanted proof that cleverness had limits. Lin Fan gave him proof-shaped bait. Ch05 saw the opening at the right wrist. Of course he did. Begin. Ch05 moved. Fast enough for the crowd to murmur. His footwork cut diagonally left, then right, a simple double shift made cleaner by Wen Qi around the ankles. His fingers aimed for Lin Fan's right wrist, exactly as expected. If he touched and withdrew, the first exchange would show that Lin Fan's mysterious precision did not work against living speed. Lin Fan did not dodge. He let Ch05 touch the wrist. The crowd inhaled. At the instant of contact, Lin Fan rotated his forearm by half an inch and let the right palm conduit remain closed. No hidden burst. No special art. Only tendon alignment, timing, and a small release of weight through the elbow. Ch05's fingers slid from wrist to sleeve. His own forward speed carried him one step too deep. Lin Fan stepped aside. Not back. Aside. Ch05 passed him and stopped 2 paces beyond, expression tightening. No injury. No obvious loss. But everyone had seen the touch fail to become control. First exchange, Deacon Ma said. His voice held less boredom. Ch05 turned. His smile had thinned. The second exchange belonged to Lin Fan. He could have done nothing. Refusal to attack would seem cautious. It would also surrender the drill's rhythm to Ch05. Instead, Lin Fan took 1 step forward and lifted his left hand toward Ch05's chest. Slow. Too slow. Insultingly slow, if interpreted poorly. Ch05 interpreted it poorly. He shifted to catch the wrist and counter. Lin Fan's hand stopped before contact. Ch05's counter closed on empty air. At the same moment, Lin Fan's right foot touched the chalk line between them and scraped forward. Chalk dust rose. Not much. Enough. Ch05's eyes flicked down by reflex. Lin Fan's left hand resumed motion and tapped the center of his chest with 2 fingers. Light contact. No force. A child's touch, almost. Ch05 froze anyway. Because he knew, as every trained disciple knew, that the chest point Lin Fan had touched aligned with breath timing during wind-step recovery. With Qi behind it, the tap could have broken rhythm and made Ch05 cough blood. Without Qi, it proved only that Lin Fan had arrived before defense. Deacon Ma's brows rose. Second exchange. The crowd's mood changed. The first exchange could be dismissed. The second could not. Ch05 looked at Lin Fan with open dislike now. Good. Dislike narrowed choices. The third exchange was free contact. Ch05 would no longer play light. He could not injure Lin Fan severely under Deacon Ma's eyes, but he could strike hard enough to make medical observation become retreat. He would aim for the bruised shoulder. Everyone knew Lin Fan's shoulder had been injured. A hard but legal hit there would look like ordinary exploitation. Lin Fan let the shoulder hang imperfectly. Invitation did not need decoration. Third, Deacon Ma said. Begin. Ch05 vanished forward. Not true vanishing. Just a windstep burst combined with a low feint. To the outer disciples, it looked impressive. To Lin Fan, it looked like a young man throwing all his timing into the first 3 breaths because he feared what would happen after. Fear made speed honest. Lin Fan stepped into the attack. The crowd shouted. Chen Rui's palm aimed for the left shoulder. Lin Fan's left shoulder rolled back. The palm grazed cloth instead of flesh. Lin Fan's right hand rose, still not using the conduit, and pressed against Chen Rui's elbow from below. At the same time, his knee touched the outside of Chen Rui's thigh. Not a strike. A placement. Chen Rui's momentum met a frame that did not oppose it. It redirected. His own windstep twisted him sideways. For half a breath, he hung between balance and fall. Lin Fan could have let him stumble. He chose the cleaner answer. He released the elbow, caught Chen Rui's sleeve at the cuff, and guided him down to one knee with the same calm motion a steward might use to fold a robe. Chen Rui's knee struck the chalk line. Dust rose around it. Lin Fan removed his hand and stepped back before Deacon Ma called halt. The court went silent. Decisive victories often made noise. This one made absence. No blood. No broken bone. No spectacular chi. Only a rank 598 disciple kneeling in front of someone who had been 976 days ago. Halt, Deacon Ma said. Chen Rui stood too quickly. His face had gone pale with humiliation. Lin Fan bowed first. Thank you for guidance. That saved Chen Rui from needing to decide whether to bow to the person who had put him on one knee. It also made refusal look petty. Chen Rui forced a bow. Junior brother has good tricks, he said through his teeth. Senior brother gave room to learn. Another polite sentence. Another cut. Lu Shang left the eaves without speaking. That departure was louder than anger. Han Wei watched Lin Fan with a fighter's stillness. Lu Chen finally turned a page in the manual he had not read. Wang Lei looked as if he had forgotten how to close his mouth. Deacon Ma picked up the wooden tags. Next pair. The court exhaled. Training resumed in fragments, but nobody truly returned to practice. They replayed the third exchange with their eyes. Some saw Chen Rui overreach. Some saw Lin Fan cheat with timing. Some saw nothing and feared that most. Lin Fan walked to the water rack and rinsed chalk from his fingers. The first burial ring remained quiet. That was the true victory. He had won without feeding hunger. He had used body, timing, and knowledge rather than forbidden pressure. The ring had not been rewarded with conflict. It would not learn that every public scene meant a chance to eat. Control first. Power later. Han Wei approached while Lin Fan shook water from his hand. You could have broken his elbow, Han Wei said. Lin Fan did not turn. Yes. Why didn't you? It would have made the exchange about injury. Wasn't it? No. It was about certainty. Han Wei was silent for a moment. Then he said, Whose? Lin Fan picked up his bowl from beside the rack. Everyone's. He left Han Wei with that. By evening, the story spread faster than the ranking change had. Lin Fan had defeated Chen Rui. Lin Fan had spared Chen Rui. Lin Fan had used a forbidden step. Lin Fan had not used Qi at all. Lu Shang had arranged it. Lu Shang had nothing to do with it. Chen Rui had slipped. Chen Rui had been forced down. Every version agreed on one fact. Lin Fan had stood in the court, acted low-key, and won. That was more dangerous than a boast. A boast could be challenged. A quiet result had to be explained. And explanations were starting to run out. That night, Lin Fan recorded the exchange in memory before cultivating. Not as victory. As data. Chen Rui's windstep burst, usable after correction, flawed at ankle transition. Lu Sheng's patience, better than Zhang Hu's, worse than Yu Qing's. Han Wei's reaction, laughter at conceptual victory, not physical dominance. Deacon Ma's tolerance, high for clean control, low for public nonsense. Crowd response, fear of invisible skill increasing. First burial ring, quiet during conflict when denied entry. That last note mattered most. He let the ring rotate once as a reward only after the body had fully calmed and the scene no longer fed it. Power had to learn timing too. Before sleeping, he also considered Chen Rui's future. Not out of sympathy. A defeated proxy could become three things: a resentful enemy, a frightened informant, or a hollow place through which Lu Sheng's next order passed. Lin Fan preferred the second, would tolerate the third, and had little use for the first unless a public example became necessary. Chen Rui had pride, but not Zhang Hu's stupidity. That meant humiliation alone might not drive him to immediate revenge. He would first try to understand whether he had lost to strength, trick, or his own error. A man asking that question could still be turned. Lin Fan placed him in the outer ring of useful variables. Then he let the memory go. Holding victories too long made them taste like identity. Identity was heavier than armor and offered less protection. The young body wanted satisfaction anyway. Lin Fan felt it as a small warmth under the ribs, childish and honest. This body had been beaten, dismissed, starved, mocked. It wanted to savor a stronger disciple kneeling. He did not despise the impulse. Despising the body only taught it to hide needs until they became sabotage. He acknowledged the warmth. Then he buried it outside the first ring. Let the body know victory had occurred. Do not let it become hungry for applause. Outside his room, someone paused, listened, and left. Lin Fan did not follow. Let them report stillness. Stillness after victory frightened ambitious people more than celebration, because it suggested the victory had not been the point. It had not been. The point was to make the sect ask a better question. Not whether Lin Fan could win once, but how many times he had already chosen not to. Questions like that aged well. They would keep working after sleep. Good questions were better than fresh bruises. They lasted. Bruises faded, witnesses argued, and pride found new excuses. A question placed correctly inside a crowd kept moving after everyone believed the scene was over. It entered retellings, altered challenges, slowed hands, and made ambitious disciples check whether the ground under their feet belonged to them. Lin Fan preferred weapons that continued working unattended.